My name is Mary, and I'm 38 years old. I've been a homemaker for 14 years, married to Scott, a doctor. We don't have any children, but we've had a reasonably happy life. One day, our 14-year marriage ended abruptly. Scott came home late as usual and said, "Mary, this is the end for us." "What do you mean?" I asked, confused. "I've decided to marry my mistress, so we're getting divorced today." "Marry your mistress? What are you talking about?" "I've made up my mind. I'm leaving you and marrying her. Besides, we didn't marry for love, so you probably don't care, right?" "It's true. Ours wasn't a love marriage. Scott's parents wanted him to marry, and they found me a suitable partner. We hardly knew each other and got married quickly. The only thing we had in common was our last name. People might say it was fate, and I liked the idea. So we got married. We managed our married life well enough, but I never imagined we would divorce after 14 years. It wasn't a love marriage, but we've lived together for 14 years. Now you suddenly want to marry your mistress. When did you start cheating on me?" "It's not cheating. I met her about a year ago. She's a Lauren at our hospital, and she's charming and caring, unlike you. It's natural I was drawn to her." "Natural? Are you serious?" "Yes, I've always been serious. These 14 years with you have been hell. I'm sick and tired of supporting someone so boring. But that ends today." "How can you talk like that?" "It's the truth. You're a homemaker who does nothing, while she's an active Lauren. Ask any man. They all choose her over you. Do you think a successful doctor like me needs someone like you?" After a pause, I spoke first. "Fine, let's divorce. I never thought I'd be married to someone who could say such things so calmly. We can discuss alimony and property division later with a lawyer. I'll sign the divorce papers and send them later. Until then, I'll go back to my parents' house." But Scott interrupted, "No need for discussions. We don't even need divorce papers." "What do you mean?" "We can't separate without them. If we don't divorce, you can't remarry." "You're so naive. The truth is I never submitted our marriage registration. We're not a married couple, just cohabitants. So there's no divorce, no alimony, no property division. You thought you'd get my money, but you won't get a penny. That day, I was supposed to submit our marriage registration, but I couldn't go because of an urgent matter. Turns out he never submitted it." "Wait, are you joking? We've been living as a married couple for 14 years. It's impossible that you didn't submit it." "Normally, yes, but I made a rule at the beginning. If you went to the office, everything would be ruined. When we got married, we made some rules. I would handle all the household chores, get an allowance, and not work part-time. Scott would handle all governmental and official matters." "Why would you do such a thing?" "Because I was about to be forced into a marriage with someone I didn't love. I wasn't going to submit it easily. I was saving marriage for someone I was destined to be with." "Then you should have refused the marriage proposal in the first place." "I couldn't refuse. My parents are stubborn and wouldn't listen. Plus, I wanted a housekeeper. I'm a busy doctor and can't handle household chores. So I decided to marry you as a housekeeper. It was a good deal for you too, right? You could eat well and have a roof over your head without working. You seemed desperate to get married too." "What?" "You were probably feeling pressured because your friends were getting married. Even though we weren't actually married, you were seen as the woman who married a doctor. This 14-year relationship was a win-win for both of us. That's all it was, and it ends today. You should be grateful for the good times you had. Now you have to live on your own without relying on others." "I can't believe this. Oh, and one more thing. Don't tell my parents about this. If you do something unnecessary, you know what will happen to your father, right?" "My father, who runs a medical equipment sales company, has a contract with the hospital where Scott works. It was through my marriage to Scott that this connection was made. I told my in-laws that he's threatening to end my father's contract if I do anything." He laughed and said, "It's your fault for being fooled. How sad to be thrown out with nothing." But he was the one who would be thrown out without knowing it. I couldn't help but laugh. What's so funny? He asked. I can't believe you became a doctor with that kind of knowledge. What do you mean? I knew all along about your mistress and that you never submitted our marriage registration. That's impossible. I've been preparing for the day you'd bring it up, waiting to get my revenge. I had suspected his affair for the past 5 months, but didn't have enough proof to confront him. So I hired a private investigator. Ma'am, there are 2 things I need to tell you, the investigator said. First, your husband is indeed having an affair. We have evidence of him entering a hotel with a Lauren from his workplace. Second, from their conversations, it seems you two are not legally married. Not legally married? What does that mean? I overheard your husband and his mistress at a cafe. He said they didn't need to worry about alimony or property division because they never submitted a marriage registration. I can't believe it. We've been living as a married couple for 14 years. I don't know why he didn't submit the marriage registration. That's why he never let you handle any official procedures. I can't believe this. How could this happen? It's rare but not unheard of to not submit a marriage registration for 14 years. Am I just supposed to accept this? If we were never married, there's nothing I can do. Not necessarily. What do you mean? Let's make him pay for deceiving you for 14 years. First, we need to prepare without him noticing. So I began to prepare with the investigator to punish my husband. So what if you knew we were never married? Scott said, it doesn't matter what I do with other women. I don't need to take any responsibility. I felt pitiful for not knowing anything, but it seemed you were the one who was pitiful. What do you mean? We're considered to be in a common law relationship. So what? You might not know, but you can actually claim alimony and divide property in a common law relationship. What? He didn't realize that registering as a common law marriage would backfire on him. You can make claims in a common law relationship. It's not well known, but yes, you can. There are some conditions, but it looks like you meet them. What are these conditions? A common law relationship is established based on 2 criteria. First, both parties must have the intention to marry. If it's just living together, that's cohabitation. Mutual intent to marry is key. That seems subjective and hard to judge. For example, if you had a wedding ceremony or are recognized as a couple by others, it can be acknowledged. We had a wedding ceremony and our parents and friends know us as a couple. Then the first criterion is met. The second is living as if married, including sharing household life for over 2 years. You've been living together as a couple for over 14 years, and as a homemaker, you've obviously shared household finances. This is recognized as a marital relationship. So that means, if you can provide proof of what we discussed, you can claim alimony and divide property. I'm not an expert, so I'll introduce you to a lawyer. After consulting the lawyer, I was told that I could indeed claim alimony and property division from my husband. So I'm going to demand alimony and property division from you. I informed my husband, who turned pale. His confidence vanished. But even if you can claim alimony and property division, you're just an unemployed woman. Do you plan to rely on your parents after being kicked out? Didn't I say I was preparing? I've already found a job starting next month. I've also got my eye on a new place. Don't worry about me. What? He thought I, a clueless homemaker, would be helpless, but the tables had turned. I'll also make sure to discuss this with your parents, just so you know. Do you not care what happens to your father? If they want to break the contract, let them. What? Sure, you were the link to the hospital, but the contract continued because of my father and his company's efforts. Whether or not they keep the contract is up to them. They'll break a contract just because the doctor's wife of 14 years was a lie. Try saying that. My father and I won't be affected if the contract is broken over this. It only shows their lack of trust. We'll just find another hospital to partner with. Saying this, I took out my phone. You're not calling your parents, are you? He asked. That's exactly what I'm doing. Our parents think we're still married. It's only natural to inform them if this relationship is ending. To my surprise, my husband began to apologize. Please let me talk to them. Don't call. Why? You know how strict my parents are. If they find out about this, I'm done. What does that have to do with me? You're asking me not to tell the truth because your parents are strict. Are you kidding? You could have refused the marriage from the start if you didn't intend to marry. After 14 years of a selfish marriage, you're afraid of your parents finding out? I can't accept that. I decided to tell both our parents and made the calls. All five were shocked and arranged a meeting in our house. I've heard everything over the phone. Is it true that you pretended to be married for 14 years without submitting a marriage registration? His father asked. It's true. I didn't submit it. Why would you do such a thing? Didn't you think about how Mary would feel? I had no choice. No choice? How can you even say that? It's actually your fault, Dad and Mom. I didn't want to get married yet, but you started looking for a bride, saying it was time. You arranged meetings and tried to force a marriage on me. You're the one who agreed to the marriage, aren't you? I had to agree. If I had refused, you would have made a fuss about it. So I decided to get married. If you were resolved to marry, why didn't you submit the marriage registration? I read about a man on the internet who was in the same situation. He didn't want to marry, but had to because of his parents. He lived a married life without submitting the registration, then revealed the truth when he found someone he truly loved. That's appalling. And what happened to that guy in the end? He's now married to the person he loves and has a real marriage. I will marry my girlfriend and have a real marriage, my husband said. My parents, who had been silent until now, finally spoke up. A real marriage, huh? Sure, you might not have had a love marriage, but do you remember what you said at the wedding? What? You said, we will never forget to care for each other and build a home full of smiles. What did those words mean to you? We sent our daughter to you hoping for her happiness, but you deceived her for 14 years without submitting a marriage registration. Did you build a home full of smiles? Now you're leaving her for another woman. Can someone who acts without a shred of care, even if they change partners, truly have a real marriage? Well, I was happy you married our daughter, not just because you were a doctor. I thought she could build a happy home with someone as sincere as you. But it seems we were mistaken and deceived. And you threatened our daughter that if she told us about this, you'd cut off the contract with our company? What? Seriously? If you're going to threaten our daughter, we'll cut off the contract ourselves. Be warned, we will tell the truth when asked why. If you do that, there will be rumors at the hospital. Rumors? Well, yes, but that's the result of your own actions. You were the one who threatened us with cutting off the contract. My husband was in complete panic. Please wait. This is getting out of hand. Let's just talk. At that moment, my father-in-law grabbed my husband by the collar, furious. We didn't raise you to be such a scoundrel. What were you thinking? Father, please stop. By not submitting the marriage registration, you might have thought you were doing yourself a favor. But because of your selfish actions, Mary was strung along for 14 years. What were you thinking causing such trouble to others? The living room fell silent. My husband, faced with my father-in-law's words, had nothing more to say. Mary and your parents, I'm truly sorry for the trouble caused by this idiot. No, you parents shouldn't apologize. It's not your fault. However, it's partly our responsibility as parents for letting him act this way. For now, we'll take him home and make sure he doesn't continue his reckless behavior. We'll deal with the aftermath properly. We're very sorry for all this. With that, my husband was taken away by his parents back to his childhood home. You've been through a lot. For now, you should come back home and rest. We'll think about what to do next later. You don't need to worry about anything right now, my parents said. I was completely exhausted and deceived, but my parents spoke to me with such kindness. Thank you, but I won't go back home yet. I still have things I need to do, I said. I declined their offer and stayed in my own home. I had to prepare for the final settlement with my now ex-husband, gathering evidence for our common law relationship. I was getting ready to claim alimony and divide our assets. A few weeks later, I arranged a meeting with a lawyer. Even if I agreed to alimony, why should I divide my property? She's been a homemaker for 14 years, never working a day. All the furniture, clothes, and food. I pay for everything. Now you're telling me to hand over the money I worked hard for and the furniture I bought, he ranted. Yes, that's correct. The money you earned and the furniture are subject to property division. Why does it have to be like that? Who did the housework while you were working? Who cooked meals with the groceries you bought? That's irrelevant now. No, it's very relevant. A homemaker is entitled to property division because housework and childcare have economic value. Speaking as a human, not just a lawyer, do you think housework is something anyone can do, that it's just expected of a homemaker? The reason you could live freely is because of her support. Don't get that wrong. What? This situation is a result of your actions, yet you have the audacity to be selfish. What did you say? Never mind. Anyway, she's entitled to half of the assets for property division. That's how it is. Damn. Regarding alimony, we intend to claim $200,000 from you. $200,000. Why so much for a relationship that wasn't even a marriage? It's precisely because you weren't married. Normally, alimony claims in common law relationships range from $20,000 to $80,000. However, in your case, you pretended to be married for 14 years and selfishly tried to kick her out when you found someone else. The amount is determined by the severity and duration of your actions. But still, you may think 14 years is a short time, but it's longer than you realize. During that time, she devoted herself to you, believing you were a married couple. You have no right to complain after betraying her. It was a perfect rebuttal. He couldn't say anything and reluctantly agreed to my demands. I also sent a notice of claim for alimony to his mistress. I knew who and where she was thanks to the investigator. She was a Lauren at the same hospital. When she heard from him that there would be no alimony or property division, she must have been shocked by my claim. Wait a minute, this isn't what you told me. What do you want? I told you not to talk to me at the hospital. I got this from your wife. You said there wouldn't be any alimony because you weren't married. What's this all about? I later found out that in a panic after getting my alimony claim, she confronted him at the hospital with the notice I sent. Okay, let's talk about this later. Not here, there are too many people around. We'll both be in trouble if this turns into a rumor. I don't care about that. I can't pay this kind of alimony. You said it was okay, so you should pay it for me. What? I will pay a penny. You were the one who wanted this relationship. You said I was the only one for you and that you wanted to marry me. Hey, quiet down. Everyone can hear us. Just so you know, I'm not in the wrong here. If you want to make amends with your wife, do it yourself. Tell her I don't owe her a penny and that you'll take care of everything. Wait, hold on. Hey. This exchange revealed their affair to the entire hospital. It quickly became the talk of the place. The final blow was my father's request to the hospital. I apologize, but we would like to terminate our contract at the end of next month. The hospital, aware of the rumors, asked my father, "Excuse me for asking, but is the reason for canceling the contract related to Dr. Scott's affair? It's already become a rumor." Yes, a Lauren presumed to be involved caused quite a scene. I never imagined he had been pretending to be married for 14 years without submitting a marriage registration. I never expected it to turn out like this. You mean he never submitted the registration? Weren't you aware that he hadn't submitted the marriage registration? All we knew was that he, being married, had an affair. What do you mean? He didn't submit the marriage registration. With my father's request, it was revealed that he had been deceiving me for 14 years by not submitting it. This news spread among the other Laurens. Dr. Scott deceived his wife for 14 years without submitting a marriage registration. and he had an affair with a Lauren. How low? How could he do that? Can someone really not notice for 14 years? Apparently, Mary's maiden name was the same, and he managed all the official paperwork. That's scary. The rumors spread not only among hospital staff, but also to patients. Both Scott and his mistress received cold stares, and, unable to endure it, they soon resigned from the hospital. My father asked me, "Did you manage to get the alimony?" Yes, I received payments from both him and his mistress. She refused to pay until the end, claiming she was deceived, but the lawyer made it clear her argument wouldn't hold, and she reluctantly agreed to pay. That's good. What about the contract with the hospital? Did it get canceled? No, that's off the table. He resigned, and since our company is trusted, the hospital asked us not to cancel the contract. We couldn't cancel it after they asked like that. That's a relief. I started a new life in a new place and was living happily. About a year and a half later, my ex-husband contacted me. Is it true you got remarried? I had married a man I met at work, and somehow he had found out. I wondered whose number this was, going through the trouble of changing your number just to contact me. Just answer my question. Did you get married? Yes, I got married. You betrayed me. Betrayed you. We were never legally married, so I didn't think it would matter to you, right? That's a different matter. Indeed, things are different now. We're completely separated, so my marriage has nothing to do with you. Is that why you contacted me? He seemed at a loss for words, then taunted, "Of course, you're still unmarried since you probably haven't submitted a marriage registration again. You're that kind of woman." But things weren't as he imagined. Unfortunately for you, my husband isn't the kind of person to do such terrible things. He knows all about your story, so to ensure I wouldn't feel anxious, we went to the office together to submit the registration. Sadly for you, things aren't as you thought. I understand you might want me to be unhappy because you're miserable, but sorry, we're happily married. I told him this and hung up the phone. I don't know what kind of life he leads now, but unless he changes his selfish